Fence. It's beautiful, it's expensive, but what is it? Good afternoon and thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Today we're going to learn about saffron. It's the most expensive spice in the world, fetching more than $5,000 per pound. Researchers at the University of Vermont have established the North American Center for Saffron Research and Development. To find out more, I'm joined by the two lead UVM saffron researchers in the center, Margaret Skinner and Arash Gaga. I'm going to get this right, and it is Galego La Beba Hani.
Great.
Close enough. Sorry, Arash. So we're so excited to have you both here to talk about saffron today. So first, Margaret, just what is saffron, this lovely spice?
Okay, saffron is the stigmas of a fall blooming crocus. It's very similar to the spring blooming crocus, but blooms at a different time, and the spring one doesn't have these orange stigmas.
So can you describe the taste and how it's used?
So it's used a lot in all sorts of culinary dishes, a lot of Mediterranean dishes, Indian, Moroccan, also even in the UK and
Sweden, I
yes,
just heard.
even Sweden, yes. But it also has medicinal properties as well that has great potential for cancer prevention, macular degeneration, et cetera, et cetera.
So, and why is it so expensive?
Well, it's picked by hand at this point in general. In most parts of the world, it's picked by hand, which is very labor intensive, though only for a very short period of time, for about 2 or 3 weeks of the year.
And Arash, where did saffron originate, and what parts of the world grow it mainly now?
Good question. Actually, we have 3 different scenarios about the origin of saffron. Some people believe it's from India, some people believe it's from Persia. As an Iranian, I like the second scenario, but most powerful scenario shows us saffron is from Mediterranean region, and actually it's Mediterranean crop.
Okay, so that kind of environment. And when and why did you start researching at UVM, Margaret?
Well, Arash was visiting his wife, who was a graduate student in our laboratory at that time. She's still there. Now she's a postdoc. And he said one day, "Why don't you grow saffron here?" And
Brilliant.
I thought about it for a while, and we do a lot of work with growers, and the research that we do in our laboratory in general is, our goal is to meet the needs of growers. And we know that growers and dairy farmers are having a really hard time making a living, and this high-value crop seemed like a potential fit.
And so you've since developed the North American Center for Saffron Research and Development. You hosted a conference here that drew people from all over the world. Let's take a look.
Why is UVM the North American Center for Saffron Research and Development?
When we are talking about saffron, we know that United States imported 46 tons saffron in 2016, so there is market somewhere, but we have to show that market to growers, to small families. So we established this center to work on marketing, to find people that are working on that, especially gather all the growers all over the places in the United States, from California to Maine, to talk about saffron and share their idea about marketing. I couldn't find any center like that or information online for that, a little bit, but we could realize we need to centralize all those information in one place, and where is better than UVM, because UVM gave us this opportunity to have this center here, and we are so thankful for that.
15 grams. We are one of the larger growers here in the U.S. now. We just put in 43,000 corms in the fall. And so there's a lot we still have to learn along the way. So this community here in Vermont has been really great, because everybody's learning from each other and asking lots of questions, and so it's been very good.
I think the University of Vermont started this research project a couple of years ago, and they're doing an amazing job, I think. And basically, it's we're looking, they're investigating is it feasible to grow saffron in the United States. And so far, it has been really promising and showing good results. And even in a colder states like Vermont, where it's really cold, it's proven that it's possible to grow saffron even here in these cold climates. I think the future for saffron is America is a big market for saffron. America is a big consumer of saffron worldwide. It's a big market also, and I think there's definitely space for US to grow more saffron, and it can be marketed here. We see a trend that people want to know where the food is coming from. They're more conscious with, on the food. So I really see potential in a prosperous future. Also, of course, thanks to the effort from the UVM, like supporting this and creating this network of growers, starting with this new project.
Saffron. The University of Vermont has started the North American Center for Saffron Research and Development. It's awesome, and we have two of the founders right here. So, Margaret, tell us what kind of research is going on at UVM for saffron growing.
So one of the exciting things about our saffron research, really from the very beginning, was how interested growers were, not just in Vermont, but all over the country. And so growers started immediately asking lots of very basic questions. Can we grow it here? Can we grow it in Texas? Can we grow it in Vermont? Is it going to survive? And those were all basic questions that we had. What's the best way to grow it? What's the best way to dry it? And we've made a lot of progress. We know now that yes, you can grow it in Vermont even when it's very cold, and we've had a couple of very cold winters, and they've done just fine. Yes.
Well, I was just going to get to how do you grow it, Arash? Just to get to that, but
okay.
Saffron, as a fall-blooming crocus, has a different life cycle. If you plant saffron corms, not bulbs,
right,
in late August or early September, they will produce flowers in 40-50 days.
Wow.
Yeah, in mid-October to mid-November is blooming season. Then we will have green leaves all over the winter, and when the weather gets warmer in spring, late spring or summer, the plants get dormant. So over the summer we don't have anything above the ground, but we have dormant corms under the ground. And in the next year, because saffron is a perennial crop, we'll produce flowers in October again, and we will have this life cycle for 3, 4, 5 years. It depends on climate, soil situation, and we will have it for a couple of years in the ground.
So like other bulbs, it's creating more little bulbs every year, but it's fall blooming.
Yes.
And what about snow? If it's green all winter, is that a problem?
We love snow on the crop because the snow works like a layer of blanket around the plants and keep them warm.
Here they are. No problem. They're beautiful.
Yeah, I dug up this one yesterday.
Just yesterday?
Yes, and you see the green leaves. They got a little yellowish because I dug up yesterday, and they are producing baby corms or secondary corms for the next year production.
And they're getting ready to go dormant actually right now.
Yes, exactly.
This time of year. So how does this compare to saffron grown around the world, the saffron that you've grown here?
Promising. The yield, Vermont yield was almost 2 times more than the yield in other saffron producing regions. So that was a good result, but we need to repeat and repeat to get sure that the results are reliable enough. You know, because we have different climate in different years, different weather in different years. So
are there different qualities to this? I mean, I remember seeing the Middle East seeing like huge baskets full of them, but it's very expensive. So is there some high quality and some lower quality?
Good question. Vermont quality is acceptable.
Okay.
And we started to have a cooperation with the UVM chemistry department to assess the quality. But we used to have a cooperation with a guy at University of Mississippi. And based on his result, U.S. saffron had a great quality compared to others.
Well, how many growers are doing this in Vermont and or around the country, Margaret?
Well, that's a good question, and one that we really don't have an answer for, because the USDA, they maintain or collect data on different production, different crops that are being produced, and they don't do it on saffron because they don't really think of saffron as being an important U.S. crop. Not yet. So we estimate that there might be around between 100 and 200 growers in Vermont, and probably maybe between 1,000 and 2,000 throughout the country.
So what's the future of the crop? I mean, how will growers sell the product, and how much can they make?
Yep. Well, very early on when we started doing the research, that growers said, well, how am I going to sell it now? And we said, first we got to figure out how to grow it, and then we'll figure out how to start selling it. And so after 2 or 3 years, now growers have a good supply of saffron. You got to have, you can't develop a market until you got enough product to sell. And so that's really starting to happen only now, when you consider that that woman in Oregon planted 43,000 corms. That's a lot of saffron. And so she recognizes she needs to develop markets. There are people in Vermont that are developing markets. They're going down to New York City and talking to high-end chefs or even locally. Some of it is getting people to realize, yes, you can buy local saffron.
So how can viewers learn more about this crop that they can harvest in October, November?
Yep.
Great timing.
Well, if they want to start trying it, they need to go to our website now and figure out how to buy some corms. Usually corms are ordered in the springtime, even though they won't arrive until August or September. So the time is now to start planning. And they can call us or they can look us up on the email.
Awesome. It's a beautiful spice. It could be the next hope, the next maple syrup.
Yes,
right, Margaret
definitely.
and Araj? Thank you both so much for
Thank you.
being with us. And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.